Welcome back to Introduction to Programming. My name is John Dwayne, and this is video number 4. This is a continuation of the last video where we were going through some examples where we're using the macro recorder to record a Visual Basic for Applications program. And we found that it was very good at coming up with the exact code that needed to be written for a very fixed set of circumstances, but it lacked any dynamic capabilities. So to just go back to that example, we started with a row of, a column of 8 numbers, and the macro that we recorded with these 4 lines of code comes up with that formula quite well. So let's just do that again so we can see. And it's macro number 1. We'll run it, and there it puts our total of 412. If, however, we were to make the column a little longer, macro number 1 doesn't quite do the trick because it doesn't know that the column is longer. It continues to put the formula in cell A9, which in this case isn't right. So what we would prefer is a macro that understood that it needed to put a formula at the bottom of the column no matter how long or short the column was. So that's what we're going to be doing with in this example. So we'll be switching to the Dynamic tab, and here what we'll do is switch to the Visual Basic Interactive Development Environment. We're going to insert a new module so we can keep this code separate from the other. And this is going to be a much more dynamic macro. It's going to be a little longer, but and we'll run through the whole thing so that you can see the exact components of it and what they all do. So I've written the code already, so you don't have to watch me type. And I'll just paste it in here. Okay, so this is a little bit more than what we had before. So we're calling this this little program add column. In the first section, this is where I'm declaring variables. We'll talk more about variables later. But for now, just consider them to be small holders of a value. This first one is declared to hold a value that's a number, an integer, so a non-decimal number. And this one is declared to hold a string value, text. This one's called int row, and this one is called str row. So they'll be holders. You'll see why we need those in a minute. The next code here is to locate the top of the column of numbers. So here, I originally wrote sheets 1 as the sheet to go to, but really it's sheet dynamic. So here's a case of where we're dealing with a collection of sheets. So this here in the Solution Explorer, you can see all the sheets that this workbook has. Sheet 1, 2, and 3. Sheet 1 is called Dynamic. Sheet 2 is called Recorder. Those correspond with the tabs at the bottom of the screen. If we go back over to the worksheet itself, you can see that. Dynamic, Recorder, Sheet 3. And here behind the worksheet, you can see that those are the names here. So the Solution Explorer is a pretty handy way to see what the names of different things are. Go back to the interactive development environment. So we're selecting this one sheet out of the entire collection, and we use the select keyword to do that. So sheets dynamic dot select, that picks the sheet. That's as if the cursor had clicked that tab at the bottom of the screen for dynamic. And then range A1 select. This is our way of identifying the geographic location on the sheet where we want the cursor to be. So we want it to be in cell A1, and in Visual Basic for Applications that's known as range. So range A1 select, and notice that's in quotes. Now I have to figure out at the bottom of the range of cells, I need to put the formula, but I don't know how many that is. So there's some functions within the language that help me figure that out. So right now my cursor is at A1 on the worksheet because of this command here. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying that selection, which is A1, I want to know what the current region is. And what the current region is, those are all the contiguous cells to A1 that have something in them, a number, a text, anything. So that's the current region. And then in the current region, I want to know how many rows. And so we do this, rows.count. So this will return to me a number that is how many rows are in that current region. You can actually do this with your own cursor. If we were to highlight cell A1 and then go to find and select, go to special, current region, click OK, it colors in that whole thing. So that's what the current region is. So that's a very handy thing. So now the number of rows in the current region is now stored in this little container called int row. Now it's a number. I'm going to need it to be a string though in order for it to work in my formula. So that's what I do on this next line is int row, I'm converting it to a string with this function cstr. So that's convert string int row. So that whole thing now converted to a string is stored in that variable called str row. All right, so now I need to locate the cell where the formula is going to be. I can't use selection current region. That's not quite right because that's just going to be the rows I'm adding up. I remember from the macro recorder that it actually selected a range of cells. So let's go back there. And no, I guess it didn't do it. In a previous exercise, the macro recorder had told me that this is the way to arrow down to the bottom of a range. So that's the same as going back here. If I have my cursor there and I hit the end key and then arrow down, it will bring me here. So the way you do that in code is selection end Excel down dot select. That's kind of a hard thing to remember, so that's why the macro recorder was helpful for me in figuring that out. But I'm still not as far down as I want to be, so I need to do one more thing. So here, selection offset 1, 0 select. What this does is it says from the current selection offset by 1 row and no columns, meaning down 1 row and over 0 columns, meaning staying in the same column, select that cell. So this is a way to say put the cursor 1 cell below where it is right now. So now I'm right where I want to be for that formula. And then here's the formula. Active cell, so that's where the cursor is, the value is going to be this whole string. And so the string is equals sum A1, because I'm always going to have A1 as the top of my row, my column. And then the next part of the formula is also going to be A because I'm staying in that column. But the thing that's variable is the row number. And I've already created the row number here with str row. So I add that in, and then I close it off with quotes. And each of these three things, I concatenate them together with the ampersand symbol. So there we go. All right, so let's do this. So we are on the dynamic page, and what I want to do here is run that program. So I'll hit the little arrow here for run, and we should go back and we should see a total. And there it is, 482. Let's do what we did before though and extend this down a little farther. And now let's run it again, see what happens. I'm hopeful, and there we go. We have ourselves a macro that creates a formula no matter where, or no matter how long our column is. Let's go a little farther, just to make sure. So in 825, that's where we should have our formula, so let's run it. 825, there it is. So what we've done in today's lesson is take the idea behind the recorded macro from video 3 and we've made it into a dynamic macro here in video 4 using custom written code. We've used variables, which we'll talk about in future videos. We've navigated around the spreadsheet by moving our cursor using the select command, and we've actually created a formula that sums up the column, excuse me. So there we go. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe and write questions in the comments part of the page, and I'll answer you. Again, I'm enjoying this. I hope you are too. See you next time. Bye.